President Trump recently announced the architecture for the Golden Dome missile defense shield. This kind of plays off the nomenclature of the Israeli Iron Dome missile defense system, which protects Israel, well, certain parts of Israel, from small incoming rockets. Well, the way the president spoke, this system would theoretically protect America against threats that were a lot bigger, intercontinental in nature. First, I'm going to show you the video, then I'm going to break it down, like, could this scheme even work? Quick note before I get started, I'm going to talk about some tech called the SM-6 missile, which is capable of intercepting ballistic missiles. This was featured in my novel, The Wind Machine, available on Amazon or on Audible for Marines. You can also find signed copies at Bunker Branding. Let's watch the video.
In the campaign, I promised the American people that I would build a cutting-edge missile defense shield to protect our homeland from the threat of foreign missile attack. And that's what we're doing. Today I'm pleased to announce that we have officially selected an architecture for this state-of-the-art system that will deploy next-generation technologies across the land, sea, and space, including space-based sensors and interceptors. And Canada has called us and they want to be a part of it. So we'll be talking to them. They want to have protection also. So as usual, we help Canada do the best we can. This design for the Golden Dome will integrate with our existing defense capabilities and should be fully operational before the end of my term. So we'll have it done in about 3 years. Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles even if they are launched from other sides of the world and even if they are launched from space. And we will have the best system ever built. As you know, we helped Israel with theirs, and it was very successful, and now we have technology that's even far advanced from that, but including hypersonic missiles, ballistic missiles, and advanced cruise missiles. All of them will be knocked out of the air. We will truly be completing the job that President Reagan started 40 years ago, forever ending the missile threat to the American homeland, and the success rate is very close to 100%, which is incredible when you think of it. You're shooting bullets out of the air.
A couple of things to start. The idea of a nationwide missile defense shield is nothing new. In the 1950s, up until like the 1970s, the Nike Ajax and Hercules missiles were deployed along the continental United States as sort of a last-ditch version of bomber defense. Some of these versions contained conventional warheads, some included nuclear warheads, so yes, we would have been shooting down enemy bombers with nuclear weapons. And if that sounds crazy, don't forget, this is a time when transistors were just coming into use. Processing power wasn't that great, and getting a nuclear warhead close enough to an enemy bomber was a better option than missing with a conventional warhead. Now, further advancements like the Nike Zeus could intercept ballistic missiles, but this was discontinued by the 1972 Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty. Then in 1983, President Reagan announced the Strategic Defense Initiative, also known as the Star Wars program. This was supposed to use orbiting platforms to defend America from nuclear weapons fired in the boost phase, but it never quite got off the ground, and the tech wasn't quite there yet. So since then, we have made great strides in intercepting incoming missiles. A lot of people who know nothing about air defense bash the Patriot missile system's performance against Scud missiles during the first Gulf War, but the truth was that it wasn't an easy job. A lot of the Iraqi missiles were made so poorly that they were breaking up in mid-flight. Now you have multiple pieces that are large. You're rolling the dice as to whether you're hitting the engine or the warhead. And the problem is that the version of the Patriot missile used during Operation Desert Storm was a proximity warhead that exploded in a cone. And since even explosions take time, though sometimes the warhead would actually be past that cone of explosive shrapnel, resulting in a hit, but not a kill. I have a whole video about how the Patriot works, the fire commands people use, and that is available at the end of this one. But as the tech advanced, we got better. The current Patriot PAC-3 GEM-T can take down ballistic missiles by striking them directly, no proximity warhead needed. Now, complementing the Patriot is the THAAD system, which is designed specifically to take out enemy ballistic missiles. There's also the Aegis Ashore system, which uses the Navy's SM-3 missile. These systems are deployed on land in Romania and Poland to protect Eastern Europe from missile attack. And of course, we have the Navy's remarkable SM-6, which is designed to be launched from Navy ships and is now available on aircraft. And finally, we have the ground-based mid-course defense system with 4 missiles in California and 40 in Alaska. This system is mainly used to counter limited attacks from North Korea. So now that we know we can defend against enemy incoming ballistic missiles at a technical level, does the math even work out at the geographic level? So let's try to figure this one out. Now, the new Golden Dome system is supposed to cost $175 billion, and there has been no word on what kind of system would be used, or whether it would be a system of systems, or whether a new system would be developed. I kind of think the president is hinting at a system of systems. But let's say you take a system like a THAAD and kind of use that as your baseline, which is proven, reliable tech. Systems like THAAD can cover about 125 miles with a maximum altitude of 93 miles, and those are public numbers. But a THAAD system costs between $1 and $2 billion each, so if we take the low end, we get 175 new THAAD systems. Now, if the range of a THAAD is 125 miles, that means we can cover about 49,000 square miles, or essentially all of New York City, Philadelphia, and New Jersey from a ballistic missile. But if we multiply that times 175, these systems can cover 8.6 million square miles, which is enough to cover the entire continental United States, Alaska, and Hawaii twice over. But if we just use the edges of the continental United States and account for overlap, we get about 37 systems, although most likely there'll be more because systems have to come online if other systems go down for maintenance. And we'll probably have some systems in the Midwest in case things slip by the border. So that's between $37, $74 billion, leaving the rest of that $175 million for other systems and things like creating a headquarters and so on. So even by using existing technology, it can theoretically be done. Now let's piece together what the president said.
Deploy next-generation technologies across the land, sea, and space, including space-based sensors and interceptors.
So the president said next generation, including space-based sensors and interceptors. So we already have space-based sensors. It's called SBIRS, the Space-Based Infrared System, which is a constellation of satellites which look for the telltale heat signature of launches. So that's something, but I can tell you ain't nobody building a satellite in less than 3 years. But this could be some kind of phased approach where some platforms come online sooner than others. And the president also mentioned a space-based interceptor, which is kind of interesting. Ballistic missiles have 4 phases. There's the boost phase, there's the post-boost phase, which is usually where the missile's engines separate. There's the mid-course phase, where the missile is essentially in parabolic flight, but it might do some corrections. I think it also takes fixes on star positions to figure out where it is in space to kind of correct itself where it's going. And then there's the terminal phase, where it re-enters the atmosphere to actually go after the target. The absolute best time to go after a missile is in the boost phase, because that's when the engine's hot. You can see it. Once it goes post-boost and mid-course, it is a lot harder to hit. Now, once it re-enters, detection gets easier because it heats up, but you don't have a lot of time, like less than a minute. And if you have multiple warheads or decoys, your problem just multiplied, because like the Patriot going after broken up Scud missiles, what are you supposed to target? You know, the THAAD system only has 48 interceptors, and oftentimes you launch in salvo mode, meaning you fire 2 missiles, one after the other. So now you're down to 24 chances to hit a missile. Now, this might work against a rogue nation like North Korea, who fired a few missiles, but in the event of a nuclear attack where thousands of missiles are incoming, war game style, THAAD systems are going to look like I Love Lucy in the Chocolate Factory, right? They're just going to get overwhelmed. So let's keep going.
This design for the Golden Dome will integrate with our existing defense capabilities.
Okay, that's tracking. The system might use a range of current and future technologies, maybe even integrating into systems like that and Aegis ashore and Navy ships. So you have this whole mix of plug-and-play defenses.
It should be fully operational before the end of my term, so we'll have it done in about 3 years.
That is an ambitious goal. Now, I really don't have information, or at least manufacturing information, on THAAD and SM-6, but I know that it takes up to 24 months to build the Patriot's radar, 12 to 24 months. And Lockheed Martin is aiming to build 650 PAC-3 interceptors a year. So I can't imagine that any other interceptor tech isn't that much different when it comes to lead time and manufacturing time. You can only build so fast. You only have so many facilities to build missiles and systems. There's currently 7 THAAD batteries in operation. I believe an 8th one was ordered and set to be delivered in 2025. So manufacturing at least 37 THAAD batteries, or an equivalent amount of Aegis ashore, or an equivalent amount of whatever tech that is yet to be developed in 3 years, that's a stretch. It's a stretch. I think it'll be tough. We can probably put some systems up on the West Coast, maybe some defending Alaska and Hawaii. Alaska and Hawaii, or at least Hawaii, would be super easy to do. We could do that today. But covering the whole nation would be really tough to do in 3 years. Now, we already have the tech to defeat ballistic missiles and cruise missiles. Hypersonic missiles, or really hypersonic glide vehicles, that's a newer threat. I really need to make a video about hypersonics, but depending on the type of attack, knocking out a hypersonic glide vehicle could be easy, or it could be hard. Let me explain. If you're a hypersonic missile, you're traveling above Mach 5, right? This cone of plasma develops around the missile, which your sensors can't penetrate. You know how in that movie Apollo 13, they had the blackout between re-entry and landing, and they'd be out of contact because of the heat and plasma during re-entry? So it's kind of like that. If you shoot a hypersonic missile at something like an aircraft carrier, that aircraft carrier will move out of the way, right? It's moving in the time it takes that hypersonic missile to get there. I don't care how fast you're going, it will move out of the way. So you have to slow down like below Mach 3 or so to acquire your target through radar or thermals or computer vision or whatever. GPS can't get you to that moving target. So when you slow down to supersonic speeds, that's when the U.S. Navy can kill you. The Navy's Aegis system was designed to shoot down supersonic missiles fired from bombers. We know how to handle that threat. We could do that back in the 80s, Red Storm Rising style. But if you're shooting a hypersonic missile with a nuclear warhead at something like a city, well, then you don't need accurate terminal guidance, right? At least depending on the size of the warhead. Then you can just go as fast as you want. A city's a pretty big target. In a case like that, you better have a dead-on shot. Because if the missile is traveling to the oblique, it'll kind of be like shooting skeet at Station 5. You have to kind of catch up to that missile, and you're burning a lot of energy to catch up. But in this case, there may be some new system, a laser-based or satellite-based system that I just don't know about, or something that's new, or something that's theoretical. And again, this could also be part of a system that might likely be in place by 2030, and other parts of the system are just defending the West Coast and they come online earlier. Now, there are a few problems with this Golden Dome approach. The first is that the enemy can always send more missiles. I don't care how good your interceptors are, you have 48 shots, or at least in that one general area. So if the adversary shoots 49 missiles, you have a problem. You're I Love Lucy in the Chocolate Factory. So overwhelming defenses is an issue. Second, we're still killing missiles in the terminal phase. Now, maybe with these new space-based weapons that the president alluded to, we can kill these missiles in the boost phase, which is ideal. But, once you get to that terminal phase, you're behind the 8 ball. You got less than a minute to intercept that thing, and it's moving really, really quickly, and if you miss that, is bad. Third, we still haven't solved the problem of decoys in the terminal phase. Decoys are cheap. And unless we have the tech to determine which is a decoy and which is a warhead, we're going to have to burn interceptors on worthless decoys just to be safe. Fourth thing, and I do find this unlikely, but it should be noted that creating such a system could be a reason for an adversary to attack. If you ever read the book War Day, the reason the Soviets attacked in this book was that the U.S. launched the first satellite of a missile defense system. So if you kind of take some Dr. Strangelove logic here, it would make strategic sense for our adversaries to attack immediately before we have this big, beautiful, impenetrable golden dome to hide behind. Fifth is that we developed this false sense of security. That could be an issue because Israel kind of developed this false sense of security with the Iron Dome. The Iron Dome was very successful at protecting communities from rockets launched in Gaza and in southern Lebanon. But it was also the equivalent of kind of putting the Palestinians on mute. Like the Israelis said, yeah, Beseder, let them launch their rockets and have their fun. Allah biyashali, we'll shoot them down. And that works until one day they fly in on paragliders, right? Our adversaries can think of different ways of attacking us. So the question kind of becomes, could that $175 billion be better spent on intelligence gathering, working with our allies and partner nations so we can take protective measures if we believe an adversary is going to attack? And finally, we already have a golden dome. It's called a whole lot of freaking nuclear warheads. You know, the term MAD, or mutually assured destruction, worked for 75 years. If you launch on us, we destroy your country. So ultimately, showing American resolve, standing with our allies, and holding our enemies kinetically responsible when they step out of line might be a cheaper long-term option. But yes, this whole Golden Dome idea could theoretically start to be in place now, at least in limited locations, or more likely along the West Coast. Hey, Wind Machine, available on Amazon and Audible. My latest book, The Last Republic, An Alternate History of a Mormon Country Inside the U.S. is out now. I even have Captain Moroni squadron gear available at Bunker Branding. F-16, Captain Moroni Squadron play a pretty big role in this novel. And stick around for my Patriot missile video. It should be up here somewhere after this. Thank you so much for watching.
It's me, Captain Bannon of the documentary Team Yankee. When I'm not kicking commie butts, I'm wearing t-shirts from Ryan McBeth, available at Bunker Branding. Knife hands, HIMARS, landmines, Patriot, and even my favorite, the TOW missile. Mushna, we want t-shirt too. Take a hike, commie. So come on down to Bunker Branding and take a stand for what's really important about America. Capitalism.